What's going on, everybody? It's your boy King Gabe here with another abnormal discovery video. With the multiverse. Some of y'all probably might think, well, multiverse has kind of become a common thing now. With Marvel and DC, and not to mention, other shows and movies that are using this concept too, and probably have used it even before now, before we even had Crisis on Infinite Earths the and the Spider Verse and all that. So some might not seem too abnormal to some people, but yeah, considering what the multiverse can produce and what's and the fact that you never know what's in it, depending on what universe you go to, yeah, you can come across some abnormal stuff. Um, Also, it's coming from me. So before we go into this, just let shout out to, of course, EJ the Supreme baby, EJ the Supreme, first Patreon and everything, as well as also this month's sponsor, Keon Smith, Mr. Keon. So definitely shout out to those two, our Patreon and this month's sponsor, say EJ the Supreme and Keon Smith. Also, make sure y'all hop on board that wagon, become some Patreons like my boy EJ, or sponsor like Keon. You know, take your pick, or you can do both. You know, as to say, support the channel there in how you can, any way you can best possible there. Also, definitely like, share, subscribe, buy some of our comic books, and let's get on with the multiverse now. At least from my perspective, uh, my abnormal perspective. Yeah. So take it as you may, whether you see it as being normal or not. Yeah. So what I wanted to bring about, the multiverse coming from me. Um, there's always like different versions of different people. Like I mentioned before, you got the Spider Verse, you got different versions of Spider Man, different versions of the DC universe in general, Batman, Superman, all that. Um, yeah, it the list goes on. Yeah, we'd be here all day trying to list everybody. So, um, yeah, and even my own creations, as you guys probably could imagine. I started off with, first, matter of fact, I started off just, writing random, stories growing up that had never even been published or anything. Um, so that creates the universes. Some of which probably couldn't publicly. A lot of them are role plays and stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh role plays, stuff like that. So yeah, but stuff that completely is of my creation. Well, kind of started with the a lot of stuff with Brownie, of course, growing up. Different things with him, like the different professions that he have, which is something that is discussed in Yumi, that is mentioned in Yumeko, like him having his own talk show and stuff like being a firefighter as well as a space explorer. The firefighter, space explorer, he is both of those. Firefighter is pretty much his a main day job, but the space explorer part is something he does on the side, as well as also on Friday nights does a talk show that will be mentioned in the books in the series, and also he what they call the Beyond. I think I mentioned in one of the book updates, Beyond Fire emergency, when he has to go out and pretty much be like a superhero, sort of. You could let's just say, Brownie's pretty much the city's superhero in a way. Him and sometimes his friends, assist him as well. Um, so yeah, there's that. Also, speaking of the first Yumeko book, it has been completed. Probably weren't expecting to hear that in this video, but yeah, it had. as of now, it was actually completed a couple of days ago, Wednesday. It was completed Wednesday. So, yep, yeah, it's definitely, but it's not published yet, but a rough draft has been completed. So yeah, it's gonna be got to get it printed out so it can be proofread. Then of course if it proofs in, then of course I have to try to do the whole go through the publishing thing. So yeah, there's gonna be that. So probably more likely it'll be next year when it comes out. So but anyway, back with the multiverse. Um, yeah, you probably could say there's probably multiple versions of Brownie, just based upon the different writings. You got, you know, like I say, the way he was written when I was a kid. There's Brownie Mon from my different Digimon, imagining him in Digimon there, um, especially Tamers. Also, the Digi Ranger Brownie Mon, which was a Digimon series that I made up myself. Uh, then also, and of course, Digi Ranger was supposed to be like Digimon Police Force, which at the time I made that, I did not know about Data Squad, even though it was out. But I didn't really know about Data Squad until after I came up with Digi Ranger. So there's that. Then you got, of course, the version of Brownie. Um, I think it was the Adventures of Brownie. I tried to write at one point. Had like a couple of stories on that on a floppy disk of all things. So yeah, there's not much of a chance of getting that there because they well maybe okay maybe you printed a copy of those stories out. Um, well if I may have printed it out, but I have no idea where they would be at right now. So yeah, it's sort of like they say, the sort of like trying to find out the pharaoh's name in Yu-Gi-Oh before Millennium World, and they called him the Nameless Pharaoh in the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh for so long. There, Nameless Pharaoh, or in English, I think by season two they called him Yami for a while there. So, hmm. So anyway, but yeah, there would be those versions of Brad, and also uh, the Brown Chronicles that I tried to start, as well as also the yumeko comic. So, and one definite multiverse that I definitely want to make happen in the yumeko series is the Striker verse with different versions of Star Striker. Because yeah, like Brownie, Star Striker had got many versions of him too, that got written out and even excuse me, and got published as well, especially with Heroes of Dreams. Yeah, Heroes of Dreams, Star Striker, 2004 Star Striker, and then you got Star Striker comic series 2017, and so on and so on. Yeah, it's yeah, definitely Strikerverse would be in the works in the Yumeko series at some point. Matter of fact, now I'm not. I don't know if she. I don't know if this would actually be done. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not confirming that this would be done, but this was just something that Christina and I were just conversating about. We was having a little conversation amongst each other, and she just sort of came up with like, well, what if the Bubblina from the Heroes of Dream series met up with the Bubblina in her comic series, as well as what she's writing in her novel, which pretty much she's doing a novel version of the comics. Some of y'all might think, well, aren't you doing a novel version of Yumiko? Kind of, sort of, but it's being written a lot differently than what I started in the comics, as well as also the rough draft. So, yeah, so Christina's is actually more on the lines of a novel version of her comic, because, yeah, she's pretty much keeping a lot of stuff the same in her story, just writing it as a novel. So, yeah, and yeah, she was imagining like if Bubblina from what she's writing now met up with Heroes of Dreams. So yeah, like I say, but I'm not confirming if that will happen or not. Yeah, that. Now if she say so, that's a different story. So yeah, yeah. But like I said, we were just talking there. So no confirmation until she says so. You know what they say. So yeah. So there's a multiverse of that there. Yeah, a lot of with our different ideals. Then kind of I guess the main meat of the video. I've actually imagined multiverse versions of me and certain other people. Yeah, one thing in my case, growing up, I was kind of selfish a little bit, kind of self-centered, wanted things, you know, wanted well, like I said, selfish. Yeah, selfish growing up, wanted things to go my way, and yeah, I kind of had a cousin like that too. Wanted to be a center of attention, so yeah, we kind of yeah, you could kind of imagine how many times um, we would end up clashing heads with each other. Not saying we never got along, but you probably could. How many times we clashed with each other with those type with that type of thinking in mind. I want it my way. No, I want it my way. I want it that way. Yeah. Or or I guess technically it'd be more like the Oh Boys version of that song from Kim Possible. Cause I want it my way. I like it my way. It's my way or the highway. Yes, I want it my way. I like it that way. It's my way or the highway. I don't want to lose. So realizing that, looking back on that, how I was growing up at times there, there's probably a version of myself that probably did not get the type of morals that I did get growing up. Like I say, I did get spoiled, but to a certain extent. And there was a point of time where it was like, well, I would say, well, certain times where it's like, okay, no, Gabriel, no, we can't get this right now. No, Gabriel, we can't get this. Gabriel, stop that crying now. Yes, kind of made me think of Eddie Murphy when he. Stop all that crying! I said, stop that crying! Oh, funny. That was probably the funniest joke I felt because it is really difficult to stop crying. Yeah, when you start crying, it is difficult to stop, especially in situations like that. Yeah, referring to like you crying because you didn't get your way, and you really and yeah, you really you're not in the right there. So yeah, because like I say, a lot of times I wanted my way and I was not in the right. So so just say I didn't get any moral, or like any if nobody told me off or like gave a no. Just I probably would have grew up to be like Cusco at the beginning of the movie. I know Cusco did get redemption at the end of the movie, and he still had to kind of work at it in Emperor's New School. But at the beginning of the movie, yeah, Cusco, yeah, was practic um, practically what you would look at and consider a straight up villain there at the beginning of the movie. And yeah, that's probably what I would end up like in another universe where I don't have any moral value. Yeah, I'd be like, excuse me, I did not ask for this. Do it right. Come here. I want it like that. I don't want to hear it. Do it the way I asked you to do it. Yeah, I would not be the best person in that universe there. They don't give me and speaking of villains, uh, in a universe where if that's not enough of a villain for you, probably another universe would be me, sort of similar to Megamind. Yeah, the what he was kind of like a parody of Lex Luthor. Um, thing was he was raised. Yeah, kind of raised, but also yeah, he believed that he was the bad guy. So that's pretty much what he did, and it was kind of like a game to him. And when he actually won in the movie, he didn't know what to do. He was like, so like that question Linkara asks the entity in one of the episodes of his Atop the Fourth Wall. Like, what will you do? You got all this power, all this information. You've obtained all the information of the galaxy and everything. But what will you do to pass the time? I will exist. Yes, you exist. But what will you do? And he kept going on with that until the entity just exploded. So, yeah, pretty. A couple of multiverse versions of myself. And then, of course, there would be probably some version of myself that probably I would say probably ended up in the Hollywood lifestyle there, because I have imagined my I know I know with my books and stuff like that, I do want to actually not only have a whole series completed everything, have a lot with the series, but also have that book series into like an anime series or something like that. That could probably be like on TV or a streaming service or anything like that. But yeah, it'd be like my own anime, off of the book series. And but there were but before then there were times, especially back like in elementary and high school, especially high school, I actually imagined myself getting into being on TV, like like the like live action, like the celebrities and stuff like that. Like with like Will Smith and Eddie Murphy and all that. Um, yeah, I actually imagined that, and so I guess there'd be a multiverse version of me already. Like, just imagine a version of myself that grew up in that lifestyle and amongst people like that and everything. Yep. And there's probably even a version of Christina like that. Since she's actually from California, she's actually from Pasadena, but yeah, there's probably a version of her like that. Like, what if she never did leave California? So yeah. And one thing though, and I could go on a lot about well, this version of me be like that, this version of me like that. So another thing I want to mention, to keep from going on and on that. Um, One of the theories of the multiverse, I actually heard this from DuckTales. DuckTales, what's his name? Huey mentioned this. He said, he mentioned about it was a about this ramrod device in the episode Let's Get Dangerous of the 2017 DuckTales reboot. He said one thing, the ramrod was supposed to create something out of nothing, but turns out it was pulling things from a whole other dimension. And one thing Huey mentioned, it actually was based off of a program, the Stalego key, and Stalego was actually a scientist which actually existed way back in the 90s of the Disney Afternoon comics, from what I've heard. Somebody actually mentioned this in a YouTube video. He Stalego back in those days, in the comics, he actually had a lot of the different Disney Afternoon shows like Chip and Dale and DuckTales and all that. Those versions back then, crossing dimensions and interacting with each other, Darkwing Duck and all that. So in this case, the Ramrod was supposed to pull things from another dimension, and originally the Ramrod in the '90s Darkwing Duck series was just pretty much just meant to, I think, just like help Boba get rob banks and stuff like that. It was probably it was something. I think it was like a gravity thing or something. I have to rewatch that to get the full info again. but but in the 2017 reboot, yeah, it was supposed to pretty much messing with the multiverse and everything, and he used it to bring Darkwing Duck's villains from the TV show Darkwing Duck. So yeah, so one thing Huey pointed out that Stilego, the mad scientist, he had a theory that every dimension is a win. I mean, every work of fiction is a window to another dimension. So just think about that for a second. We already know the MCU and the DC and DC universe, Marvel and DC universe pretty much already admits that, hey, yeah, we got multiverses, so we got multiple versions of our stuff. So that's pretty obvious with them. But just think other stuff like, say, Pokemon. That's a dimension. So in other words, that's the dimension. There's probably a Pokemon Multiverse, the anime version with Ash Ketchum and his friends. Then you got the Pokemon dimension that's sort of based with the manga, with Trainer Red and Blue, and then you got one. Um, maybe the manga's the same as this one, or it could be a little different. But it also, but with the video games, yeah. So yeah, and then you got Digimon. They got different universes. Season 1 and 2 is a universe. Season Tamers, season 3 is a universe. Frontier, which season 4 is a its own thing. Data Squad, and then season 6 with X Wars, and now we got the 2020 Digimon reboot. So yeah, different universes. Yeah, and Thomas the Tank Engine, they got different universes. So yeah, there's so yeah, just think every work of fiction is a window to another realm. Another thing that adds dimensions to the multiverse is different things that we think about, or certain actions we do. So our thoughts and actions create, sort of feed into these other dimensions as well. Um, yeah, you think of, like I just mentioned, me being, growing up being a little selfish and spoiled. That so yeah, that leads to another version of me that, in one dimension I may never have gotten the morals I got right here. So may not even been raised the same way in another dimension. So um yep. I remember. Oh, and then I remember there was one version of myself. Uh, I I'm not gonna say her name, but my ex girlfriend from high school. say, I was only with her for 2 months, and then we broke up. There, but yeah, there's a universe out there where me and my ex were either still together, or maybe, or this actually does happen. That, and it says, baby out of wedlock. Yeah, I had to say it there. So, yeah, there's a universe where that happened, and yeah, got the drama in that universe. Gabriel. So like Byron from one of the Medea movie, Big Happy Family. So, yeah, that's funny there. But I bet it's probably not so funny for that version of it though. Who's actually living it though? Probably not so funny for him. Yeah. So yeah. So a lot of works of fictions or thoughts or ideals, they can create these different universes. So yeah, something to close out and leave you thinking with. Next time you have a thought, or say maybe you're writing something like I do, write my books and stuff like that, or even just role playing, you're creating another universe. Mhm. And yeah, I do realize this is a fiction. This is a fiction. Like, I know, obviously in real life, there's not, other universes, but it is fun to think about, though. I mean, that's the whole fun of it. The fact that, okay, this is imaginary fiction, so yeah, we can pretty much imagine what we like in there, and all these different versions of ourselves. As SpongeBob say, we just use our imagination. And you know, SpongeBob probably got a whole lot of. They need to do. One last thing I need to say. I'm sorry to sound like a preacher right now. Last thing I say, and I'm closing. And then he went to the Red River. Then he went to the Red Sea. Last thing I said, I'm closing. And then Jesus said to his disciples, "Last thing I said, I'm closing." And then he went out to the Garden of Gethsemane. Last thing I said, I'm closing. So, uh, okay. Final thing. Cause I gotta go. So, final thing. They need to make a fourth. If they make, I don't know. I guess they already got the fourth SpongeBob movie already planned out. Already what they're gonna do. I guess they just gotta release, get it finished up and release it at some point if they're making it. If not, this is what they need to do. And if they have, I guess this will be a fifth movie. So if they haven't, there needs to be a SpongeBob movie of the multiverse. There needs to be a Spongeverse movie because there are a lot of different versions of SpongeBob that have come out so far between the movies that we've gotten so far and the different seasons of the show. Because there's so many seasons of SpongeBob and so many continuities within the SpongeBob series, as well as also spinoffs and stuff. So we need a Spongeverse movie. Yep. So that's my final thing. So yep. So like what you heard and everything about this multiverse theory of mine and everything. Definitely like, share, subscribe, buy our available comic books, and support us on Patreon, just like my boy EJ the Supreme. Yeah. So do like EJ the Supreme and support us on Patreon, just like him. Or give us a sponsor, like be a sponsor like Keon Smith for this month, or do like both. So one or the other or both. Buy comic books, all that, and also make sure to comment on the video too. Yeah, definitely leave some, but keep it family friendly. Leave some thoughts about what you think about the multiverse and stuff like that. Yeah, let's have a little discussion because there's a lot we can talk about with that multiverse there. So leave some comments on that. Even tell what do you think what do you think other versions of yourself will be like? Yeah, probably gonna probably gonna be a book in the comments section, but go ahead. Yeah. Might take me a while to read it, but leave it, leave it there. I would. It might. I'll get started reading it in several 3 weeks later, 6 weeks later. Oh, finally finished it. So may take me a while, but yeah, leave it in the comment section. I'll get to it. And as all, and we will see y'all in the next video with another abnormal discovery. Well, it's possible, updates of what will be going on with the book since it's, proofed and about to be published next year. And also other things. So, see y'all in one of those next videos. Take care, everybody.